Okay, it's 5 o'clock, so please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. And this is our annual meeting and budget hearing meeting, and the notice was properly posted. Thank you. I would personally like to make a motion to nominate Heidi Fink to be our chairperson for tonight's meeting. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, Ms. Fink, thank you.
Okay, are there any booklets or anything that give us the minutes, Erica, that we can see for the approval?
I'm sorry, there's, I can do it.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Oh, I got one.
We're sharing.
Do you see any minutes?
I'm looking for the minutes.
31.
Page 31.
Okay.
Okay, we don't need a motion for any of that. The presentation of the treasurer's report, Lisa Schumann, I'm presenting that to you, turning that over to you.
We do have them approved them last year.
We approved it.
We approved the minutes last year.
It's
The
just-
minutes were, yeah, moved in second.
Oh, okay.
Okay. Do you want a motion?
No,
No.
they're already approved.
Okay.
So you're just presenting.
Okay, got it, thank you.
Okay, we do now have the treasurer's report, and I will turn it over to our business manager, Erica.
Okay. As Lisa mentioned, I've met everybody here now, so thank you for coming. I'm Erica Schley, Lakeland Union's business manager. Tonight I'm going to be presenting the 2026 fiscal year budget. This is designed to provide our community, parents, and staff a transparent view of the district's financial health and how we plan to strategically invest our resources to achieve our mission. So with this presentation of the treasurer's report, what this is showing you is where we ended up last year, and again, this is an unaudited treasurer's report. So once the audit comes back, this could change slightly. But you have every fund highlighted here. Fund 10 is going to show you that we are presenting a balanced budget for the year and where we ended up for fiscal year 25. Your Fund 21 are your activity accounts. So that will show you where we ended as far as our ending balance for fiscal year 25. And that, of course, it will be balanced for fiscal year 26. Fund 27, we always have to have a zero balance in Fund 27 at the end of a school year or fiscal year. That is your special education fund. Fund 29 is where you will realize all of your Title VI dollars. And for this one, we're projecting, I probably will end up using that extra $52 in a salary somewhere. Okay, but that's how it wasn't projected out that way so far. which you will see that levy on your mill rate. Fund 46, we don't have a Fund 46, that's a capital improvement fund. And the reason you see one in there is because we always keep it there as a placeholder, so it shows up in our budget, should we ever make that decision to create a Fund 46. Fund 50 is your food service fund. This fund can carry a balance. However, because of the transfer from Fund 10 into our food service every year, we are seeing a zero balance there. Fund 73 is our services through the 403B for employees. So when you see the Mid-America resources, that is referring to Fund 73. Fund 80 is our community service fund. You can see that we do project a balance into Fund 80. However, because I'm new to the school district, I believe that there are some ways that we're really gonna be able to start utilizing that Fund 80. So I just wanted to make sure that we were levying enough to that fund to not have obviously a deficit for the end of the fiscal year. And Fund 99 is, it's referred here as the Adam Nowak Fund. It used to be a grant.
Project Aware.
Thank you, the Project Aware. So, in partnership with our Active Landville Fund 99 is where you see that. So, with that, unless there are questions, we need a motion to approve the treasurer's report.
I'll make a motion to approve the treasurer's report.
I'll second.
All in favor?
It's Becky, money, we probably need to vote.
But we're not a board.
Oh,
I mean,
which is, okay, everybody should raise their hand or something like that.
okay, everybody in favor, please raise your hand.
Be a
Yes.
taxpayer, yeah.
It's,
Okay. Pardon me? Is there any nays? Okay, thank you. The presentation of the budget.
All right, as I mentioned, the purpose of this meeting is to be transparent in our fiscal responsibilities and to present to the community how we are strategically investing our resources to achieve our mission. The most critical portion of tonight's meeting is the adoption of the total tax levy. And you will see through the mill rates and the revenue limit worksheet that we are requiring and setting a tax levy of $12,641,753, which will fund our operations, our debt services, and community services. This will be followed by a motion to approve the budget as presented. So just to give you a quick snapshot and some background about the district, I think here tonight it's important to ground ourselves in the unique context of our school district. Geographically, as you know, we are the largest school district in the state of Wisconsin, covering over 800 square miles. This is our district, and as you know, as board members, having a school district covering so many square miles, we know that we have very large expenses in our transportation costs. This year we experienced an increase to our membership, and although our 3-year rolling average for our revenue limit calculation reflects declining enrollment, we probably will continue to see a slight declining enrollment exemption, at least for the next couple of years, unless our enrollment increases over the next 2. Our mission is at the heart of our financial commitments. We offer a breadth of programming from college level courses to vocational training and we offer 4 district alternative programs in the STAR Charter School. We ensure that every student has a pathway to success. And being pretty new to the school district, I can definitely tell through board actions and working with administration that we are very dedicated to our students. Our budget priorities are driven by our commitment to retaining excellent staff and improving student outcomes. A major focus is the Thunderbird 20, or referred to as the T-Bird 20, which is a proven way to build student support networks. We are also dedicating resources for a competitive salary schedule and benefits package, offering 403Bs for employees, which is also important for recruitment. And something that I've seen about the school district over the few short months that I've been here is you experience, it's hard to find homes in the school district. So, you know, you did some really great work over the last couple of years to implement a salary schedule that I think will retain a lot of your staff. Operationally, since I've been here, the district has approved the launching of a phased upgrade to our classroom technology by investing in interactive boards. So that's going to be a 3-year rollout. Crucially, I want to highlight that after an operational deficit last year, largely tied to our fieldhouse projects, fiscal year 25, our budget is projected to be balanced. The state funding challenges. In order to understand our revenue, it's important to understand the state's structural funding system. K-12 education share of the state's general purpose revenue, which is shown in the first chart here, has declined substantially over the last 20 years. This has placed increasing pressure on local property taxpayers. When we get to the revenue limit worksheet, I will show you what came through for private school vouchers. And as a school district, we are unsure of those amounts until October 15th when DPI releases that information. Specifically for LUHS, the 1993 implementation of revenue limits allowed us to maintain a higher operating base. However, because our equalized value is high, we receive very little equalization aid in our school district, meaning that our budget relies heavily on local property taxes. You will also notice in the chart provided by WASVO, or the Wisconsin Association of Business Officials, that revenue per pupil lags inflation by more than almost $3,400 since 2009. And you've probably seen this chart before because WASVO and our different school associations really like to show that. Although LUHS is able to spend more per student, we still lack in that resource. All right, so here is your revenue limit worksheet. It is found, let me see what appendix. It's the first one, appendix A, page 17. A couple of things that I just want to point out here. This is the core financial data for our school district. The proposed tax levy, again, is $12,671,753, which is located here after all of these calculations are complete. Based on projected equalized property values, this results in a mill rate of $1.12 per thousand of value for the high school portion. And Heidi asked a great question before we started. What is the difference from last year? It is about a 7.5% decrease in your mill rate. A lower mill rate does not automatically mean a lower tax bill. As property values changes, there can be fluctuations between the different municipalities. property bills reflect levies for many different government entities, not just LUHS. In fact, our taxpayers are going to have an elementary as well as the high school on their tax bills. So just to kind of show you here what's going on, and we talked about this at the preliminary budget hearing a few weeks ago. But we did increase our membership. We went from $6.95 to $7.15. And to kind of ease some of that burden for increasing membership or even declining membership, the state has said that we're going to realize or look at a 3-year rolling membership. So that 3-year average ends up being $705. So with that, we take our $705 3-year rolling membership and we multiply that by what we are earning or receiving per student, which is $15,909.84. And you get your total amount for the declining enrollment exemption. So from all of the information on the first page, or the page that's on the left here, all of the calculations are done through DPI or submitted through the school district. The items that I really want to point out here are the federal aid impact. So when I started doing this and I was new to impact aid, going through that process, what they have you do for the exemption is to take the last 2 years' difference. And that is the levy or the impact aid. So there's been some really good questions about what happens if impact aid goes away. And I believe that if we don't get anything, we're going to be able to levy $1 million into that section of our revenue limit worksheet. Okay. So, which then goes on to the taxpayer's burden, all right? So with that, here's where you find your declining enrollment exemption, the $47,730. We have our energy efficiency exemption of $988,000. And these are we didn't have anything, we didn't have any expenditures that didn't belong in Fund 80 last year, so that's 0. The prior year open enrollment, those numbers are going to come from students who are moving in and out of the district throughout the school year. So they may not have been counted in your third Friday count and picked up in January. Here's our whopping aid certification, equalized, based off of equalized aid. So we receive $9,728 in aid. And I do know that the elementary schools, I don't think they receive anything in the aid exemption. So we do get a very, very small amount for that. These are the 2 calculations that I was talking about for the private voucher schools. And like I said, we don't know what they are. We are unable to plan for those on a yearly basis. They are sent to the school districts as of October 15th. So with all that being said, line 13 calculates the allowable revenue limit, okay, based off of all of that information. So what we're doing down here in these yellow boxes is we're saying that we know in our energy efficiency levy, we're gonna have $988,000. And I know that at our last meeting, I did mention that our payment for Fund 38 is going to be just over $1 million. And a business manager can put the full $1 million into this amount. However, it just affects what you're able to put into the Fund 10. So these 2 here, they completely balance each other out. So if I were to increase this number, it would mean that we would just be putting less into Fund 10. which we're having to use Fund 10 to cover that extra $140,000 payment anyways. So I just left it, since the school district has always dropped this amount down into the energy efficiency, I left it how we've always done it. And we know that the separate levy for Fund 80, we're going to put $110,000 into that. And so we get our total revenue limit here at the bottom of the $12,671,000. Any questions on that? Okay. The next two slides are basically going to tell you the same information. I just wanted you to be able to see your revenues as compared to your expenses, both by fund, so your revenues by fund, your expenditures by fund, and also by source. So revenues and expenditures by either source or object, okay? For revenues, it's always source. We don't have objects in any of our revenue accounts. So the pie chart is a nice visual. But when I look at it, I wanna make sure that our expenses and our revenues are balanced. So that's why I kinda like that second chart. And I think it's the last page of the actual booklet for the, actually, this one is not in the, can't find this one in the annual meeting booklet. So again, this shows that we are proposing a balanced budget. Yes, balanced budget, we're still realizing a low mill rate at 112. I think it's pretty amazing what you're able to do here off of your tax base. So. Are there any questions? I guess at this time, Heidi, as the chairperson, I'd invite you to ask any questions, or to invite questions.
Do you have anything you'd like? Okay. Anybody else have any questions? America? Okay. So then at this time, with no questions, we need a motion to approve the total tax levy of $12,671,753 for the operation of Lakeland Union High School during the 25-26 school year.
So moved.
Second. By a show of hands, everybody in favor of the motion for the tax levy?
And Dean's hand is up also.
Okay. Any that disapprove of the levy? None. Okay. We then need to approve the budget, so a motion to approve the budget as presented according to Form 6590 for the 25-26 school year. Can I get a motion for that, please?
I'll make that motion.
Is there a second?
Second.
By a show of hands, all those in favor of approving the budget as presented to us by Erica? Okay. Are there any who disapprove of it? None. Okay. Our next item then is to set board member salaries and authorize payment for actual and necessary expenses of the board members incurred in their performance. I need a motion to set the board salaries at $2,400 a year, and the board president will receive $2,500 a year, and to authorize payment for actual and necessary expenses of the board members incurred during the performance of their duties. Do I have a motion?
that consistent with this past year?
Pardon me?
Yes. So moved.
By a show of hands, all those in favor of the salaries for the board
Do
in
we need a
20?
second?
Oh, I'm sorry, I thought you did. Is there a second?
Dean has a second.
Dean's a second. Okay, so by a show of hands, all those in favor of the board salaries at 2,400 and the president at 2,500? Show of hands for those that disapprove. Okay. I then need a motion to authorize the Board of Education to acquire real estate property between October 28th of 2025 and the next annual meeting if needed and required for the effective operation of the district. If I can have a motion, please.
What is that for? I mean, last year, I think we did it because we were considering bus service and possibly acquiring that station, but I don't understand what that would be for.
I think you have to do it every year at these annual meetings just to have that ability to renew that motion. I'll make the motion.
Second.
All those in favor of allowing the board to acquire real estate as needed with a show of hands? Okay. Those disapproving? Okay. At this time, I need a motion to authorize the Board of Education to determine its next annual meeting date, time, and location to be set during the reorganization meeting in April.
Second.
So by a show of hands, all those in favor? Okay. Anybody disapprove? Okay. So at this time of 5:28, I have the adjournment of the annual meeting.
Do we need a motion to adjourn?
Do you need a motion for that?
Okay.
No?
Thank you.
Thank you,
Heidi.
everybody. Thank you, Erica,
Thank
for
you,
your
and
presentation.
it is a pleasure to be here and budget.
There's food off by Jose and, behind Jose and Joan, we'll reconvene at the annual meeting at 6 o'clock.
The regular
The
board.
regular board meeting at 6 o'clock.
Okay. Thank you, everyone. You need this one? Shredder? What am I supposed to sign? Okay, that's why I didn't sign it, so. Yes, that's my question.
Joel, you've been doing it now? Other times? First time I heard it.